Hi children, all my small friends, it's Auntie Jules again. I've got another story for you. This, so far, is the most important, most incredible story in the world ever. So you need to pay attention, because then when you go back to school, you can tell your teachers all about it, and they'll be so amazed that you even know about this person who was a real life superhero. Oh my gosh. Don't forget though, you can't be staying up late when it's sleepy o'clock, because then in the morning you'll be really grumpy and grouchy. So you always have to get loads of sleep to make your brain really big and magical, ready for the next day. Auntie Julie's in her pyjamas now, look. I'm sweating slightly though, but when you get older as a lady, you do have a little sweaty armpits. But you always have to have a good there you go, because nobody likes smelly people, do they? And believe me, I know quite a few smelly people. Anyway, let me tell you my story. Are you all sitting really quietly? You don't have to sit like at school with your legs crossed and like that. You can just chill out and lounge about, but you've got to be really quiet. Yeah? I might need some help with it though, like I always do, so I will ask you, if I don't understand something, I need to tell the answers to me. Okay, so children, my new story for you all is called 100 Steps. Now, that sounds like a real lot for anybody, but this guy called Sir, when someone says Sir, you have to do that, because the Queen, curtsy when you see the Queen, so the Queen gave him a title of Sir, because it means he's super special. So Sir Tom Moore. Okay, and he was from our country, he was from England. In fact, he was from Yorkshire, where I am right now. Whoa. Anyway, let me just start this story, because he's real, okay? And he's a real superhero, but doesn't wear a cape. But let me tell you the story, it's just so amazing. And I'm going to show you all the pictures, it's just great. So, are you ready? On a bright morning in April, a 99-year-old man, so I'm 27 and that's pretty old, but can you imagine if somebody was 99? That's nearly 100. Whoa. Anyway, so it was very old, and a 99-year-old man stood outside his house, held onto his walking frame, because sometimes when you're a bit older, you get a bit wobbly, so you have to hold on to something. So there's Sir Captain Tom Moore holding on in his garden to his walking frame. His name was Captain Tom Moore, and he had pledged to walk 100 lengths of his garden in time for his birthday. So if you're 99, how old are you going to be next? 100! How is that even possible? Whoa. Okay, so Tom took a deep breath. I always want to say Tom Hardy, because he is my husband, and I'll tell you a story about Tom another time. Tom took a deep breath. He knew it wasn't going to be easy, because he was struggling to walk and his garden was very big, but he told himself one of the many important things he'd learned during his long life. Okay, Tom says, the first step is always the hardest, but unless you take the first step, you will never finish. Oh my gosh, Tom. Whoa, that is so true. That is so true. Okay, so when Tom was small, he grew up in Yorkshire, and he had a mummy and a daddy, and his daddy was very clever. He used to build houses. I mean, how cool is that? And his mummy was a teacher, like you have at school. So he had two really cool parents. He also had a dog, and that was his best friend, and he called his dog Billy. Oh, it's so cute. I'll show you a picture of Billy in a minute, because I know you'll be really excited. Even though most boys didn't like going in the kitchen and helping Mum, Tom loved spending hours cooking with her. He would make enormous big cakes with thick coloured icing, and thick crusted pies, and fancy 3-course meals. She taught him that it doesn't matter who you are, you can do and be anything you want. And that applies to you lot as well. So, if you want to be an astronaut, yeah, you there, you can be an astronaut. You just have to work really hard at school and get loads of... If you want to be a teacher, yeah, you can be a teacher. You can be a milkman, or you can be a hairdresser, or you can be an ice cream woman and sell ice cream. You can do whatever you want, because you're just like, you're so clever, all of you. Anyway, who wants to see Billy? Yay, put your hands up. You haven't got your hand up? Oh, yeah, brilliant. Okay, I'll show you Billy then, because look how cute. And there's Tom when he was very small like you. And there's Billy wagging his tail because he's like so excited. They went everywhere together. They had big adventures in the garden and they loved exploring Yorkshire, where we live. But best of all, they loved running wild and free. Billy was named after Uncle Tom's favourite person, and he was Mummy's brother, and he used to ride motorbikes. So it's like, oh my gosh, like he really loved motorbikes and remembers his uncle like riding his motorbikes, and he just loved it, totally loved it. Oh, what's gonna be next? Oh, well, this is where it becomes very important, because you guys have to understand this, right? Okay, so you can't just be a superhero or a nurse or a fireman if you don't work hard at school, because you just can't. So there you go. Right, Tom, because he was very good when he was small, Tom worked really hard at school. In lessons, he was quiet and well behaved. That's important, because you can be a bit naughty sometimes. That's fine. I used to be really naughty. Sometimes I still am as a grown-up, but I'm also good too. You have to have that little balance, you see. Okay. He got on with all of his teachers and his classmates. So look, there he is at school, and there's his teacher, and they're all just working away really hard, and Tom is answering that question. He's got his hand up there, look. Yeah, very clever, Tom. Okay. But it was a little bit cheeky, because one time when he was getting a little bit older, he got a motorbike because it reminded him of his like uncle Billy, who like Billy the dog's named after, and he bought a motorbike and he like snuck it into school. Look at oh my god, that's so cheeky. And all the other children are playing, doing handstands and like larking and just, you know, throwing dog poo at each other. And there's Tom on his bike. Whoa, it's rock and roll, man. And also one time, guess what else he snuck into school? You won't even believe it. You've got to guess. You've got to guess. Guess. I can't hear you. Shout it out. No. You've got it. I can't believe you even got it. He snuck Billy in school in his bag. Oh, that is just crazy. But I bet you all of the children absolutely loved that. I would love it if I was at school, someone like snuck my cat in dementia. I'd love that. Oh gosh, what's next? Oh, well then, Tom obviously grew up, because you don't stay small forever. You just keep growing and growing. Not like a giant, but you just grow into a grown-up. Okay, so Tom was kind of like a grown-up, and a very, very long time ago, your teachers will tell you about this, but we used to have wars. Wars are just ridiculous, because like, let's say England wants to fight with America, or France wants to fight with Ireland. It's just ridiculous, because we're all of us on this same planet, and we should all just be really kind to each other and be friends. But a long time ago, when Tom was like growing up, there were lots of wars. So people from England, so not just Yorkshire where we are now and where Tom was from like England, they had to go and like fight the bad guys, right? Because that's what you do. You just like, the bad guys never win. They never win. Anyway, so Tom had to leave all his family and his friends and go all the way to a different country and fight and get rid of all the bad guys, because that's just what he had to do. And there's Tom. He's going on the boat now and he's just waving off. He's like, bye Felicia, bye, I'm going to really miss you, but I have to look after my country. Because obviously even then he was really brave. Okay, he ended up in the jungle, right? And he said, I remember one time there was I was scared because there was loads of not because of the bad guys, but there was loads of creepy crawlies, and he saw this spider, and it was as big as his hand, as big as Tom's hand. I'd have been like, ah! Are you scared of spiders? I'm quite scared. I'm not very brave. I would be very good in the jungle. However, because he was really into motorbikes and he was pretty clever and he knew about motorbikes, he used to help all the people in the other countries fix their bikes. How nice is that? He's so kind, Tom. Oh, what next, sir? What coming next? Let's just see. I can't even wait to even see. Oh, crikey. So even though Tom, along with the rest of the world, was pleased when the war finished, thank goodness. No more fighting, please, because it's just not on. We are to be really kind to one another, and that's just that. That is a law. Well, so Tom was allowed to come home after the war had finished, and he was so happy because he knew he would see his family and his friends again, and all the other men and women who was also in the war, they all got to come home too. So it was a really happy time, and he was really pleased. Okay, so when Tom got back to England, he was like, well, what shall I do? And he was like, well, you know what? Right, my dad used to build houses. I'm going to build houses. So that's what Tom did. And look at his building houses, and there's bricks, and he's working so blooming hard. Really, really hard. It's very important to work hard. Whatever it is you do, you've got to kind of do it your bestest. Just all time bestest. Oh, and then the story gets even better because he was very handsome, was Tom, when he was growing up. And he met a really lovely lady called Pamela. And he said, he got on one knee, because if you're romantic, then that's kind of what you do. So he got on one knee, and he was like, he had a ring like that, and he was like, Pamela, will you be my wife? And she was like, and he was like, what are you crying for, Pamela? I'm happy crying. I'm not sad crying. I'm just happy because I love you so much, Tom. And then Tom was like, he was crying as well. Everyone was just crying because they were really happy. So then they got married, and everyone was like, hooray, hooray. Oh, they were deeply in love. Okay, but next, obviously, not obviously, but sometimes if you get married, you might want to have some children. You don't have to. I don't have any because I have something that means I'm a bit scared of not children, but having them. It's called a phobia. Okay, along with spiders. So, but sometimes you don't even have to get married. You can have children. You can just have children, but it's important that you're in love because that's even better. So they had Tom and Pamela, right? Had 2 children. Do you want to know what the names were or are? They're called Lucy and Hannah. Okay. Now, Tom was like, you know what? I'm gonna educate you, and I'm gonna make you not really just wimpy. You're gonna help me do my car and fix my car, and you're just gonna help read and do loads of really important things, so when you get older you'll be able to do everything yourself. So they were really strong girls, which is really cool because I'm a strong girl. I don't need a man apart from Tom Hardy. Okay, when Tom was very young and in the war, this lady who was singing this song, she actually went out into the jungle to sing for all of the troops. And Tom remembers that. He was like, I can't believe Vera Lynn came and sang to us all. It's like, whoa, just to cheer them up because they were just very miserable over there. Tom had never forgotten the lesson his mother had taught him. No matter, remember what she said, no matter who you are, you can be and do anything you want. So that's what Tom taught Lucy and Hannah, which is a very good skill. Okay, now, when Lucy and Hannah grew up, they got married and they also had children. So just look, there's a picture of all of Tom's family there. So there's Tom and Pamela and Billy and mummies and daddies and small people. And his family is just so big. That's so cool. Oh, I'd really love that. What next though? What next? Okay, so You all know about the virus, don't you? The Rona, the virus, the plague, whatever you want to call it. Basically, it's just really miserable for us all because we can't go to school and we can't go to the parks and we can't really do much and we've got to wear masks and grown-ups wearing masks and it's just blah. So Tom had an idea. And bearing in mind he was an older guy then, all totally grown up, and he was like, you know what? I need to do something because I'm an ex-soldier and I'm a superhero. What can I do? What can I do? So what Tom did. When a dangerous disease swept around the world, which is the virus, this virus, Tom knew that he had to do something to help others, just as his family had helped him. Okay. Together, they all had an idea. They wanted to raise some money. Now, raising money means you can bake cakes with mummy and daddy or mummy and daddy, whoever you live with, and you can sell them. And then the money that you get from that, you can help other people who are in need. So that's what raising money is. So he was like, what I'm gonna do is, I'm nearly 100, so I'm gonna walk up and down my garden 100 times. And remember, he had wobbly legs and he was like old. But he was like, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna tell everyone, and I'm gonna say, please donate some money because I want to help people. Every day, Tom went out into the garden. You see Tom, look, you see he's very frail. Tom went out into the garden and slowly but surely walked step after step after step. And before he knew it, what do you think happened? He didn't fall over. No, that's not the answer. The Queen, remember, you got to curtsy. If you ever see the Queen, she was like, Her Majesty, curtsy. Her Majesty was like, Tom, I know your name's Tom Moore, but I'm going to call you Sir Tom Moore. And when you get that from the Queen, she's not hurting him with that sword. They just put it on one shoulder, and then they put it on the other shoulder, and they say something like, I now pronounce you Sir. So excuse my little four-passing Tom head, Tom Moore became Sir Tom Moore. And he was 100, and the Queen was just like, I can't believe how amazing you are, Tom. And he was like, yeah, I'm all right, aren't I? This is great, isn't it? Well, anyway, so when it did finally get to Tom's 100th birthday, because by then he was very, very famous, because he'd been on the TV, and the Queen he was BFFs with the Queen, and he was just everybody loved Sir Tom. So a lot of people who didn't even know Tom just sent him cards. And look, he's with his family there now, and he's like, oh, please, give us a hand opening all these cards. I'm never going to be able to do that on my own. So all his family were just like, whoa, my dad is so cool. Like, he's got all of these cards and everyone loves him. And there's even more on that page. Look at that. Look at that. 100 years old. Is there any more to this story? This is the last part, and I'm really sad because I loved telling this story. But I want to show you some pictures of Sir Tom Moore from when he was younger, because he was very handsome, and it was when he was in the war fighting for our country. Look at him there. He's very handsome. Very handsome. Sir. And look, and there's his mum and his dad. And I'm not sure who these people are because I can't read backwards, but these are lovely photographs. Oh, and then do you want me to remind you what it looks like up to this point? Yeah? When he got to be 100? Whoa, look at that. Are you all saluting? Because he's a sir. Not like sir as in at school. They're just teachers. Not just teachers, but he's had the sword off the Queen, curtsy, on his, so now he's Sir. So if ever you see Tom anywhere on TV or in pictures, I salute you, Sir Tom Moore. What an absolute, and there were all his medals, all those medals. Like, that's all, how brave he was. When you're very brave and you go to war, you can get some medals. Some of you could be soldiers. even girls, you can go and be soldiers. That is the end of this story, and I'm really sad because there just isn't any more now. But what do you look at him, that's him on his motorbike when he like snuck it into school. That was a little bit cheeky, but he did very well. He did do his lessons, so, and he works very hard. 100 steps. What do you think to that? What is the time on my bedo clock watch? I think it's getting to a point where everyone's a little bit sleepy. I know Auntie Julie is, because that was a very long story, very long. Okay then, children. So don't forget, up the stairs, jump into your bed, put the quilt up, and dream about what you want to be when you get bigger. Because don't forget, like Tom's mummy and daddy always says, you can be whatever you want to be and do whatever you want to do. But you've got to work hard for it, obviously. So, yeah, and sweet dreams and think about what you're going to be. When I grow up, I'm going to be Wonder Woman. Or I might be Maleficent, as I really like her. But I also might be Harley Quinn, because she's a little bit naughty, but she's kind. She's really kind. She just gets a little bit crazy sometimes. Night-night, children. Sweet dreams, and I'll see you soon for the next story.